Well, hi class, last Zoom recording. And in today's recording, I'd like to cover three things. First, just to reinforce the deadline for getting all your work turned in. Also, a couple comments on the farewell address. That's your last speech that's due at the end of the week. And then finally, I have some comments on the final assessment. That will be the last assignment that you submit. And in that assignment, you're negotiating for your letter grade for the semester. But first, just want to remind all of you, the deadline, the last day to turn in any work for this class, 2 weeks away, Sunday, May 23rd. That's the last day to get your work in. And some of you still might have a lot of work to get submitted. That's okay. You've got 2 weeks to get it in. But after the 23rd, I will be accepting no more work. So you've got to get your stuff in by the deadline. Also, too, just a reminder, make sure that all your past videos have been embedded. I looked at the critic speech assignment and the informative speech assignment, and some of you submitted your videos, but you didn't embed the videos. Therefore, I haven't graded those speeches, and I won't unless the videos are embedded. So you also want to make sure that you go back and review your work, make sure that all your videos are embedded. And if you still don't know how to embed your videos, just go to that first module on Canvas. In fact, let's go there now. I'm going to show you. Here's exactly what you need to watch to be able to embed your videos. And then it'll only take you about 2 minutes to go back and embed those videos. Okay, so we're on the modules, and I want to draw your attention to the very first module, week 1 module right here down towards the bottom. You've got a couple instructional videos, how to upload your video to YouTube, and real important, how to upload videos from YouTube to Canvas. And in that video, I explain how to embed your video to your Canvas page. And it's so easy. It's just copying the right stuff and getting it pasted in the right stuff on Canvas. So make sure you check that out. So you want to double check, make sure that all of your videos have a complete, and the only way to get it complete is if your videos are embedded. I don't grade them if they're not embedded. So last chance, still 2 weeks to get those videos embedded. And it's just going to watch this instructional video. It'll take you 2 minutes to get your videos embedded. And while we're at it too, remember, you're only responsible for submitting work that you find on the modules. So it might be as you're going through your grades, you might see a couple assignments that are missing. Before you panic, make sure you just check out the modules. If you don't see that specific assignment on any of the modules, then you're not responsible for that assignment. You're only responsible for stuff that you find on the modules, okay? All right, the next thing that I would like to go over would be the farewell speech. That's the final speech of the semester. That's due by the end of this week. And really, when you look at that farewell speech, it's very similar to the introductory video that you did at the start of the semester, in the sense that it's just a short little video where you're bidding farewell to your classmates. But real important, what I want to see you demonstrate in that farewell speech, I want you to demonstrate that now you know how to structure a speech. And that should be the big difference between the introductory video you did at the start of the semester and the farewell speech. With the farewell speech, now you know about introduction, body, and conclusion. So even though that's a short little 1 to 2 minute presentation, there should be a clear introduction, body, and conclusion. I mean, it would be great if you begin your speech with the set attention getter, kind of link it into your topic. If you have a couple subtopics you're going to talk about in the body of the speech, that you preview those main points at the end of the introduction. And then when you get to the body of the speech, when you go from one main point to the next, that you have an actual transition, and then you should have a conclusion where you summarize your points, tie it back into your thesis and then end your speech with a strong sense of finality. And a great way to do that is to end by referring back to your opening attention getter. So that's what I really want to see in that farewell speech. I want you to demonstrate in that presentation that you know how to structure a speech. And really, that's how it's going to be in terms of structure and organization for any speeches you give in the future. Like in this class, that's why learning how to structure a speech, learning the different outline formats for different kinds of speeches, that's important because you're not going to get that again. So when you have a public speaking opportunity, it's just like, okay, I'm speaking to this group. I need to figure out the topic. I need to figure out then, based on the topic, how I organize the speech, what kind of outline I'm going to create. So that's all stuff that's up to you. You're not going to, your high school is not going to ask you to come back and speak at an assembly and then go, oh, here's the outline format. You must have three sorts. No, that's, you take what you learned in this class and now you always are going to structure and organize your presentations. You'll also find out this is going to make you way better in job interviews because now when you're answering a question, you just have that basic structure down. And so you get asked the question in a job interview. I can always tell the people who understand the importance of structure when speaking, because usually they'll begin an answer to a question with something like, well, there are three things that I'd like to say in response to that. So you're seeing that structure play out. So remember, we want to take what we learned about organizing and structuring information, and we want to constantly use that anytime we give a presentation. So in the farewell speech, show me you know how to structure a speech. If you do, you're going to get a complete on that assignment. And then the last thing I want to talk about today will be the final assessment. That's the last thing that you will submit. And really, that's just you're answering 6 questions and pretty much doing 2 things. You're telling me what you thought about the class, things I can do better, or things that you want me to keep doing, that things that you liked in the class. And then second, we'll negotiate your grade. So after that final assessment, we'll figure out what your grade is for the class. In fact, let's do this. Let's go to the modules right now. Let's go to that assignment, and I'll walk you through each of those questions. Okay, so we are on the modules now. We're going to go to the week 18 final assessment, and then we're going to click on that assignment. Okay, and I intend for this to be a written assignment, but if you would rather record it as a video and just answer your questions in the video, that's fine as well. So this can either be a written assignment or this can be a video. And remember, if you do a video, make sure you embed your video. But essentially in the final assessment, 6 questions to answer. And again, the goal of the final assessment is now let's figure out from all the work that you've done, the feedback you've received, the grades as far as complete or incomplete, let's translate that into an actual letter grade. So really that's the point of the assessment. But also I'm looking to get feedback from you as far as things that I can do to improve the class and reinforce things about the class that you already like, and that is indicated in the very first question. What did you like about the class? And that's important because if you give me that information, then I go, okay, cool, I'll continue to build on that and reinforce that information. Also too, I know sometimes as students it kind of gets lost, but you guys have the power. I mean, still, when you look at the field of education, who are the consumers? It's you, right? So you are paying for a product. And so you have a lot of rights as far as like, if there's stuff you like, let's keep doing it. But if there's things that aren't working for you, not only do you want to make sure that we hear that, but that we make those changes, because ultimately we want to make sure that the customer, you, are satisfied with the overall product. So in your assessment, tell me what you liked about the class, but also give me some feedback on anything that you did not like about the class, and make sure you're really specific here. And two, I don't want an answer here that says, yeah, I didn't like the class being online. I don't either, but that was out of our control. We had no say on that. We were only doing the classes online because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. But specifically, things that worked or didn't work in terms of navigating Canvas, that can be really, really useful to me. I already know one thing I'm going to get about what you didn't like about the class, and again, I apologize. It's just some of the confusion in terms of, wait, what assignments are part of the course and what assignments are not part of the course. And again, that was because as faculty, we're using our shells to then create future shells to get approved so that we can teach online in the future. And so that's why it was a little confusing at times, where I still had some assignments in the shell that you weren't using. So I apologize for that. But stuff like that, any other information that you can give me that tells me things that you didn't like about the class, cool. I welcome that information, because I'm always seeking to make my class better for you, the student, you, the consumer. Number 3, so here you may have to go back and watch that first video that you did, your little introductory video, but in that video, you explained what your 3 goals were going to be for the semester. So in question 3, I want you to determine how well did you think you met your goals that you established at the start of the semester. Number 4, what grade value would you place on what you have learned in the class? And I know that might be a little confusing, but I'm essentially asking you, okay, how valuable was the information that you learned? Like, would the information get an A? Yeah, this stuff is really important. And it's one of the things I like about teaching public speaking. Most of the stuff you can use and apply to your basic communication style, but I want you to tell me what's the grade value you would place on what you have learned in this class this semester. Number 5, determine and defend your grade in terms of what the overall grade is that you should receive for the class. And really, that should be pretty easy to determine, because you're going to look at 3 things. 1, did you get all your work submitted and get it complete on all of your work? How well did you meet your goals that you established for yourself at the start of the semester? And then also, how well did you meet the student learning objectives that I assigned for the class? And I've tried to make that really clear, especially over the last couple weeks leading into the last big speech presentation, which was the persuasive speech. And as I mentioned in several of the Zoom recordings, that to get an A in the class, you need to treat that persuasive speech as if it were a final exam. And specifically, what I was looking for in that speech, you needed to do your outline properly and correctly. You needed to be able to plug your source citations into the outline and into the presentation correctly. And then in terms of measuring the importance of practice and how much effort you put into practicing before you actually delivered the speech and recorded your video, we're looking at the eye contact. So remember, to get an A in the class with that last persuasive speech, needed to be looking at the camera, i.e. maintaining eye contact with your viewers at least 50% of the time. So you needed to do those 3 things on the last speech, the persuasive speech, in order to get an A in the class. And so now you want to use all that information and then tell, okay, how well did you meet your goals? Well, I met all my goals, so I should get an A. How well did you meet my goals? Well, my last speech, my eye contact was great. You said so in my evaluation, and I got a complete on my outline. My source citations were plugged in properly. I should get an A in the class. Also realize that as an instructor, I have access. I know how much time you've spent on Canvas. In fact, if you just look right over here, you guys won't have this on your shell, but I click on this. This will show me how much time you've spent on Canvas for the whole semester, and it also tells me how much time you spent on each of the modules. So if one of your goals was to really become confident as a public speaker, but yet I look at that persuasive speech and you didn't look all that confident, and then I check out your hours and I see, oh, you spent less than 20 hours total on Canvas, then that doesn't say much about the overall effort that you put into your work in order to meet your particular goal. If you spend 20 hours on Canvas, but all your stuff is done properly, you met your goals and met my goals, fine, right? That's not going to be a factor. But if there's some kind of difference as far as what I see as your grade and what you see as your grade, and then I look over and I see that you didn't watch any of the Zoom recordings, then that probably isn't going to play out well for you in terms of getting the goal or in terms of getting the grade that you want to give yourself for the semester. So that's kind of the last thing that I have looked at, because that tells me how much time, how much effort you really put into the class. And then the last thing, what areas can I do as an instructor to improve this course, especially in the online format? So any feedback you can give to me, again, cool. And this would be more for me personally, maybe as far as like dealing with you directly, responding to your emails and your questions, anything like that that you think I need to do a better job of, cool. I welcome that information. And also understand that your answer there, you could say, Pop, you suck. You need to do a whole lot better when it comes to this class. I was confused the whole time. It'd be nice if you knew a little bit more about what you were talking about. Cool. I'll take that information in. That will have no bearing on your final grade. So don't worry about being critical like that's going to have an impact on your grade. It won't. Tell me what I can do to be better, right? That's what we're all doing, right? We're all just trying to get better so that we have all the tools that we can possibly have in our toolbox to make a difference in the world. So I welcome your feedback there. All right? Okay, that's a wrap on the Zoom recordings. I'm still working through the grades. I just started grading the persuasive videos. That's going to take me well into next week. I've got over 100 to watch, but I'll be getting that done. And for you guys, heavy lifting is over. Do a nice job on the farewell speech. Make sure you're really clear and specific. And also, when you're defending your grade for the class, try to give me lots of examples from your work specifically in order to support that as well. All right, you guys, I'm out.